Hi guys, and you're very welcome to Ireland's Atlantic Adventures, and we are back with an absolute bang of an episode. Yes, we were under the thumb of COVID for just a wee bit, look, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. I am very hopeful that we'll be back out on the water soon and enjoying our lovely jet skis. So there's been a bit of discussion lately on the Facebook page of Irish Jet Ski Club about second-hand jet skis and what to look out for and what are the dangers of it. So without further ado, we're going to pop over to Ken. He's another admin here on this channel, and he knows a thing or two about Sea-Doos. So he's going to talk us through the pros and the cons of buying a jet ski and what to look out for. So yeah, let's jump over to Ken and see if he's better looking than me. I don't think so, but look, we'll see.
Okay guys, welcome along. Diarmuid, thanks for that great introduction there. So today we are going to talk about buying a second-hand jet ski. So, or Sea-Doo or PWC. So typically, and what we tend to focus on here in Limerick is Sea-Doos, but we're going to try to broaden it out a small bit so we can get some Yamahas, Hondas and all that kind of stuff in. So I think the first thing you need to do is when you're looking at buying a jet ski is have a look at the ad. See how long the ad is for sale for, check out the days, check out the views, and you know, that can tell a lot about an ad. So first thing we're going to do is have a look at the trailer. You have a hitch which goes onto the back of your car or your van. Make sure it's free, make sure it's clean, make sure it sits down perfectly on your ball hitch here. Sometimes they have a lock on this side, okay, so make sure it all works okay and it sits securely on it. When you have that on the back of your van or Jeep, get down, up and down, give it a good shake and make sure it stays on, okay? Second thing is here, we have the winch. So the winches for the skis are typically a little bit smaller than a boat, okay? They have a locking pin here, or latch, whichever you want it up. Okay, make sure it catches it tight. This particular ski doesn't have one, but I would recommend 100% all of the time you put a little binding clip here like I have on one of my own ones here. Okay, so you have a snap shackle here with a rope down onto that. Coming up from the pier or driving on the road at 60-70 miles an hour, this can go and your ski can end up in the ditch. So for this, it'll take you 2-3 minutes to make up and it's always there, all right? It's always handy to have a mud guard on it. It's handy for standing up, getting into your ski, up and down, stuff like that. Okay, make sure that all your rollers here are in contact with your ski, because if it's not doing anything. Okay, nice tight rollers all the way back along. In here is the catches for the roller to keep it on. Make sure that the clips are there. There's different systems here. You can see these ones. These will sometimes pop off. These are just press fit on. So if these pop off, basically you're going to lose your roller, you're going to lose 20 quid. So make sure that they're pushed on nice and tight. Spray with a bit of XPS oil is always handy for there. Okay, you've got your lights here. In Ireland, they're not too particular about trailers and stuff like that. I know that in the States, I've chatted to a lot of guys over there. Basically, you have to have it certified and a ticket for it and all X, Y, Z. We're a bit more slack here over this side of the world, but it's good to always have your trailer in good condition. God forbid you have an accident, you don't want this taking you down, okay? So if you want to check your bearing to make sure it's okay, grab your wheel here, front and back, and give it a shake there like that, okay? If it doesn't rock or make a noise, then it's typically okay. Most of the issues that the guys have when they're buying a ski, they're driving up to Dublin, they're driving up to Dundalk, they're going down to Cork, the ski is fine, halfway up the road, the wheel is off the trailer. You're missing a half a day, it's a bit of a pain, so try to make sure that's the main thing. It's imperative that you have a ratchet strap on the back of your ski. Some fellas will rock along with it at the front, just on the winch with no other security. It's a nightmare waiting to happen, okay? So you have your ratchet strap from here up through the back of the ski, from here up over the back of the ski, loads of different ways. If you do it over here, put a cloth or a sock or self underwear, whatever you want to do, over the side, all right, nice and tight, okay, and you're good to go. That's all basically we have on the trailers. We're trying to keep it brief. There might be one or two little bits, but that's the main thing you need to focus on. Okay guys, so the next thing we're going to talk about and look at is the exterior of the ski. So obviously, the outside, it's all gel coat and fiberglass. The first thing would be, have a look over the overall condition of a ski. It's like a car or anything else you're buying. If somebody's looked after something, it's going to look fresh, it's going to look clean, and you know, it's going to be looked cared of. So if there's any chips or something like this here, this particular one here, that's fine. That's a chip in the gel coat, okay? That can be taken back a bit, touched up. You can get the codes of all these online, touch it up, rub it off, compound polish, and it's as new. Okay, if you have a chip or something down underneath the hull, the same thing can be done. If you have a serious hole, or if it looks that it's been repaired badly or something, then it requires further investigation. In general, if you have a hole or something down here in the bottom of the ski and it's not looked after, the water will actually ingress into the fiberglass throughout the hull. I've seen it where the whole bottom of the ski can actually peel out, catch in the water and come off. So it ingresses, it goes in. If there's something small there, it's not too bad, but it just needs to be looked after. So get all the way in underneath. You want to check the bottom, feel it with your hand, make sure it's nice and smooth. Okay, nice and clean. And if there's nothing major there, typically it's all right. Guys bang them off rocks, there's chips here and there, stuff like that. It's not a major problem. Just make sure that it sits okay on the trailer. There's no marks. If you had lost one of these rollers here, make sure that there's no damage in these particular spots. Okay, check your decals as well. These decals are extremely expensive on skis. So if it's chipped and stuff like that, and your man saying, oh, it's only 20 bucks or 20 euros to get it changed, not a chance. They're dear. So you want them right. If they're damaged, maybe try to get a few quid off for them. Okay, moving up then to the deck of the ski, we've got our plastic fairings, bits and pieces like this. So these typically all open up. You have your gas struts in here. Make sure it doesn't fall down. It needs a bit of a spring. If it does fall down, there's a gas strut in here that might need to be changed. You know, it's not major money, but just try to have it right. Your storage and your bins, try to make sure that they're there. They're extremely handy. They're watertight. You can hold your cover. Okay, you can have a fire extinguisher in here. You can have your snacks, beers, all your bits and bobs. It's nice and tight. It's nice and dry. Okay. This particular one then will lift out here. So you want to have a look inside the front. Make sure it's dry. Make sure it's clean. Okay. And in here then, in some of the models of the skis, is your batteries. Okay, you can pop that off. Make sure your battery's looking okay. Make sure it's not covered in grease, anything like that. Nice, clean, and you're ready to go. Okay. Seats on these skis are extremely expensive, but you can get them covered. So any little rips, any bits and pieces like that, make sure that the hinge system and that is working okay on it. You have another gas strut in here. It's not too expensive if that's gone as well. So make sure there's no tears along the bottom. Make sure that there's no rust here on the staples. If you're talking about changing these staples out, or if they need repair, don't go down to your local place unless they have the stainless. You want them in stainless steel, otherwise they'll rust. Okay, and then you've got stains and stuff coming down here. So there's no problem repairing these. Riva Racing, all those other aftermarket guys sell seats for this. Nice snap close, nice and tidy. Okay. Okay guys, next thing we're going to do is we're going to look inside the jet ski. Okay, so first thing, get a torch. All right, now with these particular Sea-Doos here, they're kind of the newer models. Look at all this space. Okay, all this space here you can have. If you don't take the top off, it's going to be a little bit tighter. Okay, but you know, it depends how much you want to go and look into a ski. All right, first thing is, if you own a Sea-Doo and you have one of these caps or covers for the engine, I recommend take it off, put it to the side. It's not needed. What they do is they harbor water, they harbor salt, okay, and then you get corrosion. So oil, that's probably the first things you can check, which is easy enough. Okay, clear there. And our oil level is just about, might be a tiny little bit high. When these warm up, it's going to come up to here, and that's where you get the guys talking about catch cans, oil coming back in, stuff like that. Typically, if it's in between this marker here, the oil is okay. See how dark or brown it is. Get a little white spot here, put it down, see how dark it is. Okay, the darker the oil is on petrol engines, obviously it needs to be changed out. The coolant bottle is here in this particular model. Okay, you can open it up. Have a look in, make sure it's clear. If you have little residue, flake, all that kind of stuff, grime or dirt down the bottom, typically it mightn't be anything, but you know, it could indicate a head gasket going, something like that. But you know, we don't like to do dramatization here, especially with the older skis. If this stuff isn't perfectly clear or whatever and they're running okay, you know, it's not the end of the world. And I suppose that's the first thing we should basically say. We would not recommend buying a jet ski unless you can drive it. In COVID times, it's a little bit harder at the moment, but if you're buying a ski and you're spending any sort of money on it, you want to drive it. Worst case is, put it in on the trailer, give it a good rev, leave it run away for 5-10 minutes. You want to make sure that your coolant, all your pipes have a chance to heat up and you've no major leaks, okay? This is your oil filter down here then. Typically on the Sea-Doos, this is where it is. Normally you wouldn't have to take them out. If you can take them out, you open them up, you have your filter here, you can peel them back to the sides. You are, even on new skis with absolutely no issues with them, you're going to have a certain amount of bronze, gold, flake, stuff like that in it. It's not a huge concern if it's not overly bad in them, okay? Throttle bodies are here, okay? These can be problematic on the Sea-Doos, so put your key in, press start and listen. Okay, that's moving away nice and freely there. Okay, if you have a leaking intercooler, it blows water up in here, it sits in it and it causes damage. Okay. This is the inside of your throttle body here. This is your butterfly valve. If these get sticky, there's a printed circuit board up here. If they go, basically the things are toast. We've tried to repair them before, but it's just a mess. There's resistance and stuff in here. So keep them nice and clean. You can open up the hose clip here if you want, get a mirror look in and see how it goes. Next thing is Sea-Doos Superchargers. Pre-2008 they had a gold friction washer on them. That was the thing that always failed. This is your friction washer here and here. So when the engine is driving it here, once the boost comes up, it can slip on this, which is totally normal. These are the washers that were gold, and these were the washers that were creating problems. They'd break up, fall down into your engine, and you've got a mess. Okay? Typically, and you're obviously not going to be taking this out at the side of Topaz on the Dublin Road when you're buying your ski. So a quick way to check to see if your supercharger is working okay. You can start up the engine. Hold the pipe here. If you have good boost, okay, the pipe will swell. Typically it's okay. Some of the other issues that you can have with the superchargers is the blades breaking up. They were typically on 2016. There was a recall on them, but on some of the machines, they can break up. Not a huge issue because the intercooler will catch it. It can damage your intercooler, so it's best to try to keep an eye on them. Okay. In general, you want to look for coolant leaks, oil leaks, and basically the overall condition of the engine. It wants to be free of salt if possible, free of oil around the place. Give it a good once over if you can. Just make sure that there isn't huge amounts of oil anywhere and it's being looked after as best as possible. Plugs, coils, all those other small little bits and pieces, you know, if they're okay, your ski should be fine. Okay, you want to see if the ski has any engine management lights on? Key. Put your key in, press start. Okay, this is called a wow. You generally get all your lights on, your two needles going to and fro, and it comes on. This is saying normal key. You can't say a learner key. Make sure that you're buying a ski with a normal key. If you only have a normal key, you're not going to get above 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, okay? So it's important. This particular ski here, oh, it looks okay so far. We have our hours down here in the bottom, 129. On some of the newer models, they have the distance. So you just need to scroll through the info here, up and down, stuff like that, to get it up to hours. Okay, your fuel gauge is working okay. Your VTS is working okay, up and down. Yeah, that'll just take a minute to come up and down, that's fine. Okay, and then you've no engine management light. An orange engine management light that stays on means you have a P code someplace in the machine. You can scroll through, have a look, see what it is, or you know, you can give us a buzz. We've no problem helping out. All right? Pushing start. You can leave these run for 45 seconds approximately out of the water. You don't really want to go much more than that. No engine management lights on, looks okay, press stop. You don't really want to rev them and drive them too hard when they're out of the water. That means that it's going to overheat your carbon seal and that is going to give you problems further down the road. Approximately 45 seconds to give it a run like that, a few revs, that's absolutely fine. Once the carbon seal doesn't heat up, you're not causing it any damage. If you want to run it for slightly longer than that on the hose to warm up oil, stuff like that, put the hose on after you've started the ski. Never run water through the ski without the engine running, okay? So steering as we're up here around the dash, make sure that's nice and free, okay? If they're tight, they can have salt in around here. If they're loose, like this one here, you can get a bushing from Davy up in Sea-Doo, all right? You can pop that in, sort it out, it's not a big deal. If your cable is tight, typically put a bit of XPS oil down here in the sides. If it doesn't free up, it means that your steering cable is stuck and it's not going to get any better. So to change them out, labor isn't too bad, but the cables themselves can be maybe 150, 200 quid. They can be a little bit expensive, okay? So aside from that, make sure your plastics are okay. You've no engine management lights on. If you start a Sea-Doo with an IBR on it, and it starts and you get a red IBR light on for a minute, that's fine. The IBR takes all the power from the battery at the start, it kicks the code in the machine, and it'll clear after a while. So if it stays on for a second, that's absolutely no problem. Okay, so the most common problem probably on a ski is your wearing and your impeller that drives the water through it. If your wearing is damaged or if your impeller is damaged, basically it's like a clutch in a car, it's gonna slip. So it's taking water in, it's trying to drive it through your wearing, but it's not tight, it's not smooth, so you get cavitation and you don't get full power. Mainly the way to check it is, have a look in the back. First of all, if it's a Sea-Doo, you need to lift up the IBR. Okay, so to enter override, pull the trigger here on the left, press set, and you can hear that there. Your IBR bucket is going up at the back. The battery's a bit low on this, so we've lost our screen. Okay, you can hear that there. Up along, pull out the key. All right, and now our bucket is up at the back. Cool. Okay, here we are at the back of the ski. Our IBR is up. On the Yamahas and other ones like that, there's different ways of checking them. On the older skis, it's mechanical. So you go to the port side of the ski, pull the handle up, and now you have a visual in here. Okay, so if we look in here, we can see our impeller and we can see our wearing. Make sure that there's no stones, there isn't any damage to the vanes coming out of the pump and stuff like that. Just make sure it's overall in generally good condition. Make sure there's nothing too loose. Some of these nozzles and stuff here do have a nice bit of play in them, but that's nothing to worry about. So try to have a look in there. Make sure that red thing there, that's your wearing. They come in blue, black, yellow, white. If that needs to be replaced, they can be bought on eBay, 20, 30 bucks. Stay clear of them. Get a main dealer Sea-Doo wearing. Okay, the other ones are junk and they'll just fall apart. Impeller looks fairly okay in here. It's a relatively new ski, but if there's a few little dings, chips, bits and bobs like that, that's okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look underneath at the intake rate. Okay, we'll have a look at the intake rate now. Intake rates are important because they stop big items going into your jet pump and messing up your stuff. Smaller stones and that bits and pieces can still get in, but if you're not riding in shallow water, that's not a concern. Okay, let's go and have a look. Okay, so here we are underneath the ski. This is our intake rate here. Runs down along, there's a couple of bolts here. If you ever do get a rope or anything stuck, don't automatically go and take these out. Some of these have nuts inside in the ski that you can't actually access, so you're as well to pick in around here. Okay, so here we are looking into our ski, into our intake rate. There's our impeller. A couple of little rust spots here and there, nothing really too much to worry about. Okay, our wearing up there on the side, you want to check the gap between your impeller and your wearing. Looks pretty tight there, looks all okay. No nicks around the edges. No major damage to the wearing, that all looks okay. As you're under here, have a look up along the bottom of your ski. Now, a few scratches here, look. Nothing really to worry about. That can all gel coat and polish out. Yeah, all looks good. Okay, one other important thing that you need to check on the Sea-Doos is, this is the ride plate here. This is the cooling mechanism of the internal of the engine, all right? On the top and this side of the hull, you've got two pipes coming onto this. This is a flat metal plate that's like a sandwich. The coolant flows through it, in and out, keeps the engine nice and cool. If this is damaged here, run your hand underneath, make sure you've no coolant, all right? If it is damaged, there's a lot of labor and a lot of time and effort to change this out. They can't really be repaired. They need to be bought new from your main dealer, okay? So that's just one thing. Have a look underneath, make sure there's no big scrapes, any nicks, any damage, anything bad, okay, it's definitely 500 quid minimum that you want after the price of the ski if the guy wants to sell it.
Okay guys, so I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Ireland's Atlantic Adventures YouTube channel. Look, if you've liked this video, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe if you could. That would be absolutely awesome. And if you are not confident in buying your own ski and looking it over, please do leave a comment down below and we will get in contact with you. And Ken can give your jet ski a good look over, and he does have the Bud software, so to check your jet ski to make sure it's all in perfect working order. So happy days, you'll be confident in knowing that you will have a proper jet ski. So again guys, thank you very much for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye bye.